Okay.
You should already spend some time with this.
Oh, we all came late. Okay, why don't we start the Prabhuji?
Yeah. Yeah, this is okay. Oh,
Sudhavyadini Rajendra Nirnam Shanti Sahasrasara Apasyatam Atmatattvam Viheshu Vimenam. Those persons who clearly grasp, being kind with knowledge of ultimate truth, are the representatives of hearing in human society of my breath. Rajan Kutumba Varane Nama. Lifetime of such a illustrious householder is passed at night, either in sleeping or in sex indulgence, and at daytime either in making money or maintaining family interests. Dehavakya Kalatradesh Atma Sanyesha Satsvati Disham Pramato Nidhanam Pasyan Abhinapasati. A person devoid of Atma Tattva do not inquire into the problems of life, being too attached to the fallible sources like the body, children, and wife. Although sufficiently experienced, they still do not see the inevitable destruction. Pibanti eva bhagavata atmana satam padamritam shravanam samritam Vananti te vidusitasayam Vajanti tachavana saroruhantikam. Those who bring through oral reception, fully filled with the nectarian message of Lord Krishna, the lover of the devotees, purify the polluted aim of life, known as material enjoyment, and thus go back to Godhead, to the lotus feet of Him, the personality of Godhead. Akama sarvakamo va mokshakama udarati tivrena bhakti yogena yajata purusham param. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of no material desire, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the personality of Godhead. Ayodharati Vaikunsam Udyanasam Chayannasam Tasya Te Yatshano Nita Uttama Shloka Vartaya. Both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. Swamibharahasrakarai samstita purusha pasho nayat karna pato peto jatu nama gadagrajaha. Men who are like dogs, hawks, camels, and asses praise those men who never listen to the transient pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna, the deliverer from evils. Kiratahunandra Pulinga Pulkasha Abhira Shumbhaya Manakasadaya Yeyanjicha Bhava Yarapasvayashvaya Sudyanti Tasmai Prabha Vishnave Namaha. Kirata, Guna, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abhira, Shumba, Yamana, members of the class of races, and even others addicted to simple acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord due to His being the supreme power. I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto Him. Aham devasam devagre nanyat yatchatmasakaram Pasyadam yatitacha yavashishyeta sosmiyam. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which is seen now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. Yatam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tad vidyaratmano mayam yata vaso yata tamaha. O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality, know it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. Yatha mahanti bhutani bhutesu chavacheshvano pravishtani apravishtani tata teshu na teshu aham. O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos, and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created, and at the same time I am outside of everything. Etavareva jignasyam tadvajignasunatmana anvaya vyatikavyam yatsya sarvatra sarvada. A person who is searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it up to this, in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. Sri Shuka Vacha Atra Sarvo Visarvascha Sana Poshanam Bhutaya Manvantaraishanukata Nirodho Mukti Vashraya. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 10 divisions of statements regarding the following: the creation of the universe, sub-creation, planetary systems, protection by the Lord, the creative impetus, the change of manus, the science of God, returning home back to Godhead, liberation, and samamvanam. Yasvaikavishvasikakalamatavalambya Jivanti loma vihajadagarandhanataha Vishnu mahasahirayasya kalavishesho Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Brahma and other lords of the mundane worlds, appearing from the pores of hair of Mahavishnu, remain alive as long as the duration of one isolation of the matter, Mahavishnu. I know that infallible Lord Govinda, of whose subjective personality Mahavishnu is the portion of proportion. Trivigrahadana Nityananda Singharatman Mandiramajunado Yuktasya Bhaktan Chanayunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. The spiritual master is always engaged in the temple worship of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. He also engages his disciples in such worship. They dress the deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments, clean the temple, and perform other similar worship of the Lord. I offer my respectful obeisances onto the lotus feet of such spiritual master. Aham vipro natanavati nadi vaishyo na sudro naham vadni na chakriyavati na vanaso yativa kintu prodya nikala paramananda purnamritabde gopi vatu bhaktiyo vasudasa. I'm not Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya or a Shudra, nor am I a brahmachari, a householder, a vanaprastha or a sannyasi. I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar, and he is the cause of universal transcendent bliss. He is always existing with bliss. Yasya devi parabhakti yata deve tata gurau tasya te katita hiyata prakashante mahatmanaha. unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master. All the imports of Vedic knowledge are automatically revealed. Nityo nityanam chetanam eko bahunam yo vidati kaman. He is the prime eternal among all eternals. He is the supreme living entity of all living entities, and He alone is maintaining all life. Tadvidyanatvam sadgurum iva bhigachat samitvani srutriyam brahmanishtam. To understand these things properly, one must humbly approach with firewood in hand the spiritual master who is learned in Vedas and firmly devoted to the absolute truth. Jai. Alright, let's start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Deva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nastabrayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. So let's continue Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 1, Verse 18. So we are seeing Vidura traveling in his pilgrimage. Okay, text 18. He's going to meet Uddhava, and then after that he'll meet Maitreya Rishi. Alright, are you ready? Ureshu punyo pavanadri kunjeshva apankato yeshu saritsarasu anantalingai samalankriteshu chacharati tayataneshwananyaha. He began to travel alone, thinking only of Krishna, through various holy places like Ayodhya, Dwaraka and Madura. He traveled where the air, hill, orchard, river and lake are all pure and sinless, and where the forms of the unlimited decorate the temples. Thus he performed the pilgrim's progress. So Prabhupada writes how he goes to different places of pilgrimage to see the temples, the deities, Archa Vigraha forms and so on. So for him, he didn't matter, you know? It didn't bother him. He was happy to do these things. So Prabhupada also says in this particular purport that the Archa Vigrahas are mentioned as Ananta Linga. And so Prabhupada says such forms are unlimited. They have unlimited potency. Okay. What he's trying to say is it's not different from the actual personality of Godhead. This is important because a lot of time people ask you, have you seen God? Right? Actually, we are seeing God every day. It's not different from the actual person, the Archa Vigraha and the Lord himself. So he gives a very nice example. The example is of the post box. So Prabhupada says the example of the post box and the post office may be applied here. Little post boxes distributed all over the city have the same potency as the postal system in general. The duty of the post office is to carry letters from one place to another. If one puts letters in the post boxes authorized by the General Post Office, the function of carrying letters is performed without a doubt. Similarly, the Archamurti can also deliver the same unlimited potency of the Lord as when he is personally present. Vidura therefore could see nothing but Krishna in the different Archa forms, and ultimately he was able to realize Krishna alone and nothing else. So many times they don't accept, when you say this is God, they say no, physically actually appear. But actually we are seeing him. The only thing is he's not manifesting in a way that we can see him, but he's there. We are seeing him, at the same time we are not seeing him, because it's our impurity that doesn't allow us to see the Supreme Lord. To actually see him, one has to have Premanjana Churiti Bhakti Vilochana, to have the self of love in our eyes. Then we can see the Lord nicely. But you can see here, there's no difference between the Murti in the temple or the Lord himself directly coming and talking. It's only a matter of consciousness. So this is part of Krishna's mercy actually. He's allowing us to approach him in his Murti form. So when you go and dress and all, you are actually dressing the Lord himself. It's not like you are not dressing him. This is a very high level of service. And we sometimes don't think like that. Huh? We think it's just dressing some dolls or something. So that's not like that. It's not. Text 19. Kamparyatan medya vivikta vritti sada plutoda sayano vadutaha alakshita swer avaduta vesho Ratani Jere Haritoshanani. While so traversing the earth, he simply performed duties to please the Supreme Lord Hari. His occupation was pure. His occupation was pure and independent. He was constantly sanctified by taking his bath in holy places. Although he was in the dress of a mendicant and had no hair dressing, nor a bed on which to lie, thus he was always unseen by his various relatives. So he didn't want to attract attention from anybody, particularly his relatives. Yeah. So he went as a mendicant from one holy place to another holy place. The main thing he wanted to do was he purify himself, do his sadhana. That was his main thing. He wasn't interested in any other side business. Sometimes you see, sometimes the devotees, they are doing arti, they will say, take my picture, and then they put on the Facebook and and because they want to show that I am doing the arti like that. But you can see Vidura here, he doesn't want anyone to know he is doing pilgrimage or anything like that. So it's his humility, at the same time he wanted to be absorbed in the function of pleasing the Lord. Okay. Text 20. Ittam vrajam bharatam eva varsham kalena yava gatavam prabhasham tavaccha shasha shitimeka chakram ekata patram ajitena partha. Thus, when he was in the land of Bharatavarsha, traveling to all the places of pilgrimage, he visited Prabhakshetra. At that time, Maharaj Yudhishthira was the emperor and held the world under one military strength and one flag. So while he was traveling, the war was already over. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So, do you know how long he was doing his pilgrimage? 18 days. He left before that. Couple of years. He went for 30 to 35 years traveling. Yeah, from what my readings are, 30 to 35 years doing his pilgrimage. Amazing, huh? How much we can do? We want 2 weeks yatra, we are tired. Yeah, we get sick and we come back home. That's true. That is amazing. Text 21. Because he really wanted to purify himself. That's why he continued like that. See, when we go to pilgrimage, we are not thinking of purifying ourselves. I mean, we have the enthusiasm, we want to do it, but we cannot sustain it. Yeah, like Prabhu saying, tourist mode. So, cannot sustain it. That's why it is also recommended you just don't go too long to the dham, because we are not in that category. We may commit offenses in the dham. Yeah. Like in the Vrindavan, they say just 3 days is good enough. But you can see his consciousness and and what we should aim for and how our mood should be like. All right. Anyway, let's continue. Text 21. Tatra dasushrava suridvinastim vanam yata venujavani samshrayam samspardaya dagdam matanusochan Saraswatim pratyakiyaya tushnim. At the place of pilgrimage at Prabhasha, it came to his knowledge that all his relatives had died due to violent passion, just as an entire forest burns due to fire produced by the friction of bamboos. After this, he proceeded west where the river Saraswati flows. Okay? So it's giving us the idea of how long and he's been traveling different places. So at Prabhasha Kshetra he heard. Where's Prabhasha Kshetra? Gujarati? Prabhasha Kshetra is in Gujarat? Okay. Somewhere in Gujarat. Huh? You all don't know. Huh? I don't know. Okay. I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Text 22. Tasyanti tasyo shanaso manoscha Rito ratatne rasitasya vayo Tirtam sudasasya gavanguhasya Yachrada devasya sa asesheve. On the bank of the river Saraswati, there were 11 places of pilgrimage, namely Trita, Ushana, Manu, Ritu, Agni, Asita, Vayu, Sudasa, Go, Guha, and Shradadeva. Vidura visited all of them and duly performed rituals. So he did some yagnas also. Text 23. Anyani cheha dvijadeva devai Kritani nanayatanani Vishnu Pratyanga mukyankita mandirani Yaddarshanat Krishna manusmaranti. There were also many other temples of various forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, established by great sages and demigods. These temples were marked with the chief emblems of the Lord, and they reminded one always of the original personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. So generally, when we say the chief emblem of the Lord, he has many emblems, lotus and things like that, but the chief is considered the chakra. Okay? Because in the verse also it says chakra. So in most temples that are built, on the top there's always the chakras there. So everyone sees the chakra is as good as seeing the deities inside. So that's how, if you remember, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sanatana Goswami and Haridas Thakur, because they were barred from coming to Jagannath Puri temple, they just said, we will just look at the chakra and we have taken darshan. Like that. So even they couldn't go into Jagannath Puri temple. So when we go, reminds me of the case when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was giving class, when his disciples heard the conch shell, they ran without sitting for the class. So then he said they are only going to see the stone, they are not seeing the Lord. So even if we are going, if we don't have that correct mood and understanding and desire, we are not really approaching the Lord properly. We may not see him, we may mistake him for a wood personality like that. Important. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, okay, you carry on. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, in the middle of the purport, of these four emblems, because of the conch shell, wheel, chakra, club, and the lotus flower, of these four emblems, the chakra or wheel is the chief. Lord Krishna, being the original Vishnu form, has only one emblem, namely the wheel, and therefore he is sometimes called the Chakri. The Lord's chakra is a symbol of the power by which the Lord controls the whole manifestation. The tops of Vishnu temples are marked with the symbol of the wheel, so the people may have the chance to see the symbol from a very long distance and at once remember Lord Krishna. So this is basically the significance of what the chakra is all about. So these temples were there already more than 5,000 years ago. It's not that they were built recently. A lot of time you can see people say, no, it's only built recently. Not, but actually, Vidura's time. Yeah, it's been going on for thousands. Prabhupada says that these were built by, in the translation, Deva Deva Yi, you see, it says, built both by the sages, and the sages could be also demigods, and the demigods themselves came down to build such places in previous yugas. So millions of years this are existing. Text 24. Tatastu ativrajya surastram riddham Sauviramasyan kuru jangalamscha Kalena tava yamunam upetya Tatro davam bhagavatam dadarsha. Thereafter he passed through very wealthy provinces like Surat, this all in Gujarat district, Sauvira and Matsya, and through western India known as Kuru Jangala. At last he reached the bank of Yamuna, where he happened to meet Uddhava, the great devotee of Lord Krishna. So Uddhava left from Dwaraka, and then he's gone all the way from Prabhashetra. After the Lord left, he went all the way to, I think it's in Vrindavan, right? Because Yamuna is only near the region of Vrindavan. So the Lord has told him to go there. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, the tract of land comprising about 100 square miles from modern Delhi to the Mathura district in Uttar Pradesh, including a portion of the Gurgaon district in Punjab, East India, is considered to be the topmost place of pilgrimage in all of India. This land is sacred because Lord Krishna traveled through it many times. From the very beginning of his appearance, he was at Mathura in the house of his maternal uncle Kamsa, and he was reared by his foster father Maharaj Nanda at Vrindavan. Yes, Prabhu?
It's interesting saying Punjab is East India.
You know, East India Company and all.
Punjab is actually, now it is north, but at that time the India was very big.
They occupied more place.
No, but it was, India was very big.
India was very big, so Punjab was considered in the east.
Now Bengal is considered to be east.
Even then it doesn't connect, it doesn't come out east.
No, because if you see Afghan, up to Afghanistan it was India.
But still how it can be east?
More than Afghanistan.
Northeast side. Northeast side.
Anyway,
Northeast is
we don't know how it is.
maybe some translations.
There could be two things. One is editorial. One is editorial mistake. Could be. The other thing is we do not know. We don't know how, in what way it's considered east. Yeah. Sounds more like west, right?
The west would be, no, west would be like Afghanistan, they would be considered as west. But it's quite far. Then that makes sense that it's east.
That only comes Uttar Pradesh.
Anyway, this is not important. There are still many devotees of the Lord lingering there in ecstasy in search of Krishna. See that? In Vrindavan, there are many devotees still there, lingering in ecstasy. The Prabhupada is telling us there are still people now, if you go, they are wandering in ecstasy. In search of Krishna and his childhood associates, the gopis. It is not that such devotees meet Krishna face to face in that tract of land. See, that's another thing. You don't meet face to face, Prabhupada is saying. But a devotee eagerly searching after Krishna is as good as his seeing him personally. So are you seeing Krishna? You try to understand what Prabhupada is saying. Unless you are seeking and eagerly seeking for Krishna, you are not seeing Krishna. That means everything you see, oh, this is Krishna's devotee, Krishna's instrument. Then you are seeing Krishna. You don't have to physically see him. That's what he's saying. So a lot of times, if you are not practicing like this, then you are not seeing Krishna. Then you can say, I don't see Krishna. To tell you the truth, 90% I'm not seeing Krishna.
Today, I guess, Prabhupada was in morning when we meditated.
Class.
Morning class, so Prabhupada was saying that in Chaitanya Charitamrita is one verse. Devotees is everywhere. Ishtadeva Murti. Look at the verse. Sorry. Bengali verse.
Okay, it's okay. What else?
So he's saying that whatever he's saying.
Yes,
he's seeing
everywhere a devotee will see Krishna. That's true. Yeah.
Basically Ishtadeva.
Yeah.
Ishtadeva Murti. That's one word.
It's happy always, every moment.
So Prabhupada says, how this is so cannot be explained, but it is factually realized by those who are pure devotees of the Lord. Achincha, inconceivable. Philosophically, one cannot understand the Lord Krishna and his remembrance are on the absolute plane, and that the very idea of searching for him at Vrindavan in pure God consciousness gives more pleasure to the devotee than seeing him face to face.
This is the verse.
Huh? You got the verse, okay.
Stavara Jangam Dekhe Na Dekhe Tar Murti.
Sarvatra Haye Nija Ishta Deva Shruti. Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yeah. So although he sees trees, mountain and other living entities here and there, he sees all as a creation of Supreme Lord, and with reference to the context, sees only the creator, not the creator.
The same thing, you can see how Srila Prabhupada was, even he was in Vrindavan. when he was preaching, when he was traveling around the world. He saw everything to be used in service of Krishna. And Narada Muni, when he was traveling, same thing. So now you see Vidura also. Then Prabhupada explains how a devotee is actually realizing Krishna. So this is very important purport, because if you know this, then you can tell people who question you, have you seen Krishna? You can answer, yes, I see Krishna in the temple. I'm searching for Krishna. That is as good, because this is the philosophical answer, correct answer. And if you believe in this, then it's good for us. If you don't, then yeah, keep going looking for it. But Prabhupada himself was searching for Krishna. Remember, in his pastime when he went to Vrindavan, he said he was looking everywhere to see if Krishna would jump out of a tree or not, from behind a tree. So remember this purport, because it answers many things that we take it for granted. Sometimes a senior devotee in his heart is always thinking of Krishna, but if you ask him, have you seen Krishna, he may say, I've never seen it. But actually he's thinking of Krishna all the time. So therefore Prabhupada says what? For the devotee, right, the idea of searching for him at Vrindavan in pure Gokula gives more pleasure to the devotee than seeing him face to face. This is Vipralamba, highest stage. And then Prabhupada quotes the Brahma Samhita verse, Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadevi Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Sham Sundaram Achincha Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham. Okay. So if we have that ecstasy, then we always seeing Krishna. So Krishna is in your heart all the time.
I was thinking about the practical understanding of every application of that, because I can rather than just theoretically think that I'm seeing Krishna. But what do we know? It's a practical, gradual way of actually going there. Like one of the things that you were saying, when you're looking at things and you're seeing how it can be used in service of Krishna. I was thinking maybe another way is that I'm willing to accept and I truly respect, say, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. You will change.
I respect everything and
Yeah,
everyone.
exactly. Your consciousness will change. If you see everyone as devotee of Krishna, and we see everyone connected to Krishna, and you see everything is belonging to Krishna, you have to change. Your nature has to change.
Yeah, that's
So you become humble, no? You become very menial-like towards Krishna and his devotees. So you rather serve them because you know you may offend otherwise. But because of our faults, you got to remember in the beginning, Ahankara, Kartayam Manyate, huh? We think we are the doers. Prakriti Kriyamanine, right? But material nature may be moving the body and so on, but we think we are the ones who do it. Yeah, so practically you have to start seeing it is not going to be artificially, you cannot do it. Because you may do it for a few days. After a while, when you don't like something, you start getting angry and then blasting people like that. But if you are sincerely doing it, yes. Then you will take remember just like Vidura saw difficulties as good.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah, so the same way, if you are practicing, you'll take, this is Krishna is telling me something. Let me think about it. Yeah, it's tricky, but of course, you don't want people to abuse you, also. So, but if you're sincere, Krishna will protect for sure. Text 25. Savasudevanucharam Prashantam Brihaspate Pratanayam Pratitam Alingyagadam Pranayena Badram Swanama Pricha Bhagavat Prajanam. Then, due to his great love and feeling, Vidura embraced him, Uddhava, who was a constant companion of Lord Krishna and formerly a great student of Brihaspati's. Vidura then asked him for news of the family of Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. And the Prabhupada Prabhupada writes in the last sentence, second last sentence, Vidura asked Uddhava about the welfare of his relatives, although he already knew that they were no longer in the world. This inquiry appears to be very queer, but Srila Jiva Goswami states that the news was shocking to Vidura, who therefore inquired again due to great curiosity. Thus his inquiry was psychological and not practical. Because he already knows what happened, but he's just asking. Just like sometimes you make conversation. Now, Vidura's is actually, his relation to Uddhava is like a father to a son, like that. Vidura's brother, Srila Prabhupada says, Pandu was Lord Krishna's uncle. Right? Because Krishna's father is who? Krishna's father, who? Vasudev. Vasudev's sister? Kunti. Yeah, sister. Yeah. So then Kunti's side is related Krishna. So Kunti's relation, through Kunti's relation, Pandu is becoming the uncle of Krishna. Right? Okay. Uddhava's father is who? Yeah, his cousin. So Uddhava's father is a brother of Vasudeva. Deva Bhaga. His name is Deva Bhaga. That is how they were related. So it is said that Uddhava looks very much like Krishna. Almost. Text 26. Kachit Puranau Purushau Svanabhya Patmana Vritteha Kilavatirnau Asata Urvya Kushalam Vidhaya Kritakshanau Kushalam Suragehe. Please tell me whether the original personalities of Godhead who incarnate themselves at the request of Brahma, who is born out of the lotus flower from the Lord, and who have increased the prosperity of the world by elevating everyone, are doing well in the house of Surasena. So he's asking about Lord Krishna's family, the Yadus, Krishna, Balaram, and so on. Because he says who incarnated themselves at the request. Because Brahma asked Krishna, Vishnu or Krishna, Garbhodakasha Vishnu. So Prabhupada says Lord Krishna and Balaram are not two different personalities of God. God is one without a second. But he expands himself in many forms, without they are being separate from one another. They are all plenary expansions. The immediate expansion of Lord Krishna is Baladeva, and Brahma, born from the lotus flower from Garbhodakasha Vishnu, is an expansion of Baladeva. So all expansions of Krishna are Vishnu Tattvas. So we cannot minimize the Vishnu Tattvas. They are as good as Krishna himself. Yeah. Plenary portion, expansions. You have to be very careful. Because we worship Krishna, we tend to look down on other forms of Vishnu worship. That's wrong. Huh? You should be happy if anybody is worshipping Narayana. You should be so much happy rather than they are not worshipping. Huh? Yeah. So there is nothing wrong with people worship any form of Krishna. Text 27. So he's asking a lot of questions about different personalities. Kachi Guruna Parama Surino Bhama Sa Aste Sukamanga Sauri Yogaishvashrinam Pitrivardadati Varan Vadanyo Varatarpanina. Please tell me whether the best friend of the Kurus, our brother-in-law Vasudeva, is doing well. He's very munificent. He's like a father to his sisters and is always pleasing to his wives. So, because he's very kind to Kunti, his sister. So it's like a father to his sister. Always very pleasing to his wives also. He took care of Rohini, took care of so many of his wives carefully. Rohini is a sister of Vidura. The mother of Baladev, the sister of Vidura. It's there in the purport. So they were brothers-in-law. Huh? So he's remembering his relationship. It's amazing they are related to the Supreme Lord. No? Not ordinary. Okay, so continuing asking question to Uddhava. Kache varuta dipate yadunam Pradyumna aste sukamanga vira Yam rukmini bhagavato bilebe Aradhya vipran smaramadi sarge. O Uddhava, please tell me how is Pradyumna, the commander-in-chief of the Yadus, who was Cupid in a former life. Rukmini bore him as her son from Lord Krishna by the grace of Brahmanas whom she pleased. He is a Kamadeva, and he took birth as one of Lord Krishna's son. And so Prabhupada, if you want to know more, he said you can read Jiva Goswami Sandarbha, Krishna Sandarbha. So yeah, see, when you want to study the Bhagavatam really seriously, then you have to study with Jiva Goswami's Sandarbhas, Sat Sandarbhas. Yeah. So I recommend you all to read those also for your deeper understanding, not for intellectual gathering. Yeah, so that you appreciate how you also can do nice service to the Guru Parampara. By studying Jiva Goswami's treatise on this Sandarbhas, on the Bhagavatam and so on, you know the position of Krishna, who he is actually, that he is God. And then you understand the position of the devotees and what they are meant to do properly. The relationship is completely, amazingly revealed in Gurmit. So yeah, you should be reading those things. Now that you are reading Bhagavatam seriously, that's how you do it. But it's for you guys, not for you to go and show people you know so much. Yeah, then you will appreciate Bhagavatam more. You can see, because Bhagavatam is written in a very Vyasadeva has written it in such a way that if you are of a higher consciousness, that particular verse will reveal certain level of relation with Krishna. The rasa is revealed. But if you are not, you cannot appreciate it. So all this Acharya's writing a revelation that we cannot enter into, because they are so pure, they can see exactly why this word was used. Sometimes the word priti is used, sometimes it's sneha is used like that, right? So we just think it's one of the Sanskrit words, but there's depending on the reflections of the devotee and the rasa with Krishna, those words make a lot of sense, how it's used. So then you can appreciate, wow, Kunti is in motherly affection, so she uses certain words. And Devaki will use certain different way, and Yashoda will use different. But they're all having Vatsalya ras, but you will find that Yashoda has a higher rasa than them, slightly. So, but we are not here to do those kind of compare, but we are here to appreciate. As you progress in your Christian consciousness, you will realize this is true. Your heart will open up, all the senses will get illuminated. And so you can, and then you want more of those senses to, like if you hear something sweet about Krishna, then you wish you had 1,000,000 years like that. So that is different, completely different. But anyway, that's why the Acharya is right. So to help those who are on the path of pure devotional service to gain access into the deeper and inner and more intimate service to Krishna. Text 29. Kachit sukam sadvata vrishni boja dasharha kanam vadipasa aste yam abhyasincha chatapatra netro nirpasanasham pariritya durat. Oh, my friend, tell me whether Ugrasena, the king of Sattvatas, Vrishni, Bhojas, and Dasharhas, is now doing well. He went far away from his kingdom, leaving aside all hopes of his royal throne, but Lord Krishna again installed him. I want to know about Ugrasena. How is he doing? He's inquiring about all his well-wishers, people he likes. So he's asking about all of them. Text 30. Kachintare saumya sutta sadriksha aste graniratinam sadhu sambha asutayam jambavati vratadya devam guham yo ambikaya dritogre. O gentle one, does Samba fare well? He exactly resembles the son of the personality of Godhead. In a previous birth, he was born as Kartikeya in the womb of the wife of Lord Shiva. And now he has been born in the womb of Jambavati, the most enriched wife of Krishna. It is said that among the sons, Krishna's favorite is Shamba. So therefore, you can see Vidura is asking this.
So in our general conversation, if you want to ask about somebody's welfare, so we'll just ask him how is he doing. But here, why is that they are not just saying their name, but they are giving their history also behind it. Like, how is he doing, and then who is actually he? They are also exposing the numbers. Like earlier ones also, you see, Dava is asking about Pradyumna and explaining what Pradyumna is actually. You want to understand why.
Sukadeva Goswami is talking to Krishna.
it's two things. One is as it is a culture in those days. The way they present, they will also talk about your lineage and so on. That's how they used to. And the other thing could be, as Prabhu is saying, that maybe Sukadev Goswami is paraphrasing, but I'm not sure. I can't say that for sure. This is what Vidura is saying, as far as Prabhupada is saying.
So I don't know. I mean, it's
I would say it's more cultural, and it is a known thing among these devotees who is what and where they are from.
Maybe they just don't think that person, they think the person with a connection or something.
Yeah, when you say,
Deeper.
see, when you say Krishna, then they say he is son of Vasudeva, and then he was foster father as Nanda Maharaj, like that. That's how they will describe somebody. Just like when they say, who are you? You won't say, I am so and so, Das, right? You will say, I'm a disciple of so and so. Right? Because you on your own, you are nobody, you know. It's a guru who's the value. Yeah, so the same way, it's a cultural thing, and so therefore he's connecting to all the different personalities.
One way to think of this is when we think of somebody, we think superficially of somebody. And if he's thinking not that person with the connection with a more deeper personality.
More respectful, you could say. Yeah. More appreciative of that person. But you notice these are the people he is more interested in. So the more you're interested in someone, the more you talk about them and their particular relation and so on. Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting. But even in, I would say it's more cultural.
that's what I felt. I was thinking about again previous generation India.
That's how they
religious and all
talk.
that.
Yeah.
If you're talking about, they will always say, it's like the son of this.
Yes.
So the
That's what I was saying. It's more
very strong.
more
Because generally it's very
cultural. Yeah. If you remember your great grandparents how they talk,
Yeah.
they will say, this person who was son of so and so, he in that family, this is how they did.
Yeah.
Right?
They talk like it.
Isn't it? You remember? They will never say, that guy long time one idiot. Like they won't say. They'll say he was the son of this, and his father used to do this.
Doesn't they have that?
And then they'll tell this guy's name and their parampara, and this guy did this foolish mistake. That's how they will talk. Nowadays you say that idiot, that's all. Because Kali Yuga, no? Then we don't have time, everything is chopped off. I believe it's more cultural, and it makes more sense who the person is also.
Also, the names are very, not all the names are very common.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
to give Arjuna maybe the name.
Yes, that is true also. So if you just say Samba, which Samba, right? Yeah. So by saying the family lineage, they know this Samba. Yeah. So that is the reason. Yeah. But yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, we can understand how you can see how culturally it's different and it also goes to show how intimate they were to know all this information, and which means they show interest about each other. Yeah,
It's not just asking about
it's not superficial.
showing that I'm more interested about this.
Yes. This is, in a sense, by doing this, he is a unique person. Yeah, it's like you need a unique key code to identify your documents in the database, right? So by saying all this, you exactly know who it is. You don't have to beat around the bush. So yeah, Prabhupada explains how so many of these demigods also came to participate in the pastime of Lord Krishna. So when the Lord appeared, all the demigods also appeared as his associates. That's why even Pradyumna, who was Kamadeva in his previous life, and Kartikeya, came as Sambhu, and Uddhava is one of the Vasas. Text 31. Shemam sakache yuyudanaste Yafal guna labda danu rahasya Deveyanjashadokshaja sevayaiva Gatim tadiyam yati vidurapam. O Uddhava, thus Yuyudhana fare well. He learned the intricacies of the military art from Arjuna and attained the transcendental destination, which is very difficult to reach even for great renouncers. So Yuyudhana is Satyaki. Yeah. So Satyaki became Arjuna's disciple. Huh? He's very dear to Krishna also. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, the destination of transcendence is to become the personal associate of personality of Godhead, who is known as Adhoksaja. He who is beyond the reach of the senses, material senses. The renouncers of the world, the sannyasis, give up all worldly connections, namely family, wife, children, friends, home, wealth, everything, to attain the transcendental bliss of Brahman happiness. But Adhoksaja happiness is beyond Brahman. So that's a difference. This this destination that is spoken in this verse is Adhoksaja destination.
Brahman decides compared to a drop in the ocean.
Yes. It says it's like a toenail, single toenail of the Lord. The effulgence is like that. The bliss is like a single toenail of the Lord that shining. That's it. And the Bhagavan realization is the Lord Himself. Adhoksaja. So later on Prabhupada writes, out of many potencies of the omnipotent, there are three features of His internal potency, namely Samvit, Sandhini and Lahadini. So there are three features of the internal potency. And Prabhupada says, and in spite of their strict adherence to the principles of Yama, Niyama, Asana, Dhyana, Dharana and Pranayama, so these are the people who practice yoga, yogis and jnanis, Asanga yoga, are unable to enter into the internal potency of the Lord. This internal potency is, however, easily realized by the devotees of the Lord by dint of devotional service. Yuyudhana achieved this stage of life just as he achieved expert knowledge in military science from Arjuna. Thus his life was successful to the fullest extent from both the material and spiritual angles of vision. That is the way of devotional service to the Lord. Because he served Arjuna so nicely, he also got liberation. Therefore, you serve nicely your Guru Maharaj, the devotees. Do your best, do your best. Don't think we are the best, but do your best. Text 32. Kachet buddha swasti anamiva aste Swafalka putro bhagavad prapanna Ya Krishna padankita margapam susho Achestata prema vibhinna dharya. Please tell me whether Akrura, the son of Swafalka, is doing well. His father is Swafalka. Swafalka was a very powerful sage. By his presence, the whole place that he was in won't have any famine or drought or anything. So he's asking about Akrura also, because Akrura also was the one who went to pick up Krishna, and also Akrura also exhibited transcendental ecstasy. So everyone he is talking about have attained transcendental ecstasy, perfection. He is a faultless soul surrendered onto the person of God. He once lost his mental equilibrium due to his ecstasy of transcendental love and fell down on the dust of a road which was marked with the footprints of Lord Krishna. So, in the Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada talks about how Akrura went looking for Krishna, and then when he saw the footprints, he just jumped down and rolled. Because Akrura never thought that Krishna was going to chastise him because he's working for Kamsa. Akrura felt, I had to do this service, I will go and serve the Lord like that. He was non-envious actually. That's another reason why Akrura was feeling ecstasy when he rolled on the dust, because he was not envious of Krishna. If he was envious of Krishna, how can he feel those things? So therefore, he wasn't envious when he was serving Kamsa. So this way we can understand who is at a level, So later on in the Shamantaka jewel incident, the reason is he was part of that problem because he was cursed by the gopis for taking Krishna from Vrindavan. That is the only reason. Yeah. Yes. So it is confusing. But if you read carefully, it's because the gopis got angry when he took him to Mathura. So they cursed him. And that curse manifested as him participating in that killing of Satyajit. But otherwise, he's not a envious person. Just simply understand. Very easy to know. Prabhupada gives it so easy, we know he's not envious. Otherwise, you will think he was envious. That's why he killed Satyajit. But then if he was like that, how could he feel ecstasy? Not possible. Therefore, he never was envious. Whatever mistake he did later on is because of the cursing of the gopis. So gopis are not ordinary. Don't mess around with the gopis or the Brajavasis. Have to be careful. So if we can think like Akrura, he was thinking all the way, I'm going to get Krishna. Oh, how wonderful Krishna is. So wonderful. He'll be like this, he'll look like that. He has heard so much about Krishna. He's thinking and he's riding, and then he saw the footprint. Immediately he recognized this is Krishna's footprint. So much. So therefore, remember, Smartavya Satatam Vishnu. Vishmartavya Najatu Sit. Sarve Vishay. No, Sarve Vishadya. I forgot that one. Then Etayareva Kinkara is the last verse. Nishidaya. So all the other rules in the scriptures are subservient to this one main rule. That is, you always remember Krishna, never forget. So that's what Akrura was doing. Smartavya Satatam Vishnu Vishmartavya Na Jatusi. Anyway, text 33. If you find them, you can look at. Kachi Chivam Devaka Bhoja Putriya Vishnu Prajaya Eva Deva Matu Yavai Swagarbena Dadara Devam Trayi Yata Yagna Vitanamartam As the Vedas are the reservoirs of sacrificial purposes, so the daughter of King Devaki Bhoja conceived the Supreme Personality of Godhead in her womb, as did the mother of the demigods. Is she, Devaki, doing well? It's asking everyone how they are doing. Hmm?
Chapter 22, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, verse 13.
Text 34. Apisviraste Bhagavan Sukam Vo Yasadvatam Kamadugo Niruddha Yamamananti Smahi Sabda Yonim Manomayam Sarva Turiya Tattvam. May I inquire whether Aniruddha is doing well? He is the fulfiller of all the desires of the pure devotees and has been considered from yore to be the cause of the Rig Veda, the creator of the mind, and the fourth plenary expansion of Vishnu. Sarve Vidhi Nishedasyu. So I was Vidhi, yeah, Sarve Vidhi. So all the rules. Okay. So this is a good verse to memorize, so you understand. That whatever you do, right, whatever in your life you do, you have to always ask, is it going to help me remember Krishna?
This is the lens through which
Yeah. Or is it going to make me forget Krishna? That is the principle by how you can always connect to Krishna. That's a very good verse to remember. So everything must be Kinkara. Kinkara means mates, like maid servant. So all other rules must support this main principle. Alright, let's continue. Basically, he's asking about Aniruddha, who is actually a plenary expansion of the four Chatur Bhuja. Text 35. Apisvidanye cha nijatma daivam ananya vritya samanuvrattaye Ridhika sadyatmaja charudeshna Gadadaya swasti charanti somya. O sober one, others such as Ridhika, Charudeshna, Gada, and the son of Satyabhama, who accept Lord Sri Krishna as the soul of the self and thus follow his path without deviation, are they well? So he's asking about different personalities in all the Satyabhama's sons are all with the Banu, Chandra Banu, this Banu, and that. I can't remember all 10 of them. She is the she's Rukmini and Satyabhama are like the principal queens. But even fighting, yeah. Satyabhama is the angry one. Yeah, they say she is like Radharani, expansion, left wing, more like Chandra. Yeah. Text 36. Api swadodvyam vijayat chatyubhayam dharmena dharma paripati setum Duryodhana tavyatayat sabhayam Samraja Lakshmiya Vijayanu Also let me inquire whether Maharaj Yudhishthira is now maintaining the kingdom according to religious principles and with respect for the path of religion. Formerly Duryodhana was burning with envy because Yudhishthira was being protected by the arms of Krishna and Arjuna as if they were his own arms. So, we know the story, what Duryodhana tried to do. Everyone was very happy with uh, Yudhishthira when he was ruling them.
Never had any.
Huh?
He never had any enemy.
He never had enemy, and he was always very kind. He was actually a very exalted person, very exalted. When you read the Mahabharata, you don't get that sense, but actually, he's very exalted. His own brothers got angry with him. Yeah, when they were playing the die game, they were thinking such a fool and so on. But later on, when everything was over, they asked him why. Then he explained to them when they lost everything. He told them why. He said, "I played this game, right? First time I played, we lost everything. But then the Dhritarashtra get, and then I went. And as we were going back, he sends a messenger saying, I want to play again. And I was wondering, why is this happening? At that moment, I realized this was not in my hands. This was will of the Lord. There was a higher purpose. And so I realized immediately I should surrender to the higher purpose. So this is amazing because he surrendered everything in his life for a higher purpose. Who would do that? Huh? Who would do that for a higher purpose? His brothers will never. They were ready to fight at that moment. They were all angry. Yeah, but you can see they were all wanting. They were ready to fight. They were saying, if you had told us, we would fight." But he said, "No." I realized at that moment there's a higher purpose. So therefore, I wanted to let the higher purpose take control. So in our own lives as devotees, sometimes you can see something is forcing us to do something. So because we are not the same level of Yudhishthira, we need to go and talk to senior devotees when we are in difficulties. So then we can make the right decisions. We can't think we are all Yudhishthira and say higher purpose. It won't work. Okay. So anyway, he ruled the kingdom so wonderfully. People were so happy in his when he was ruling.
There's a nearby place, Konduru. There's a place called Gopalakrishna Swami Temple. So there, actually, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Yudhishthira before Yudhishthira. That's what
Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita many times. Yudhishthira Maharaj. That's interesting. I've never heard of that, but.
That's what the
Okay. It's possible, right? Because Krishna spoke several times the Gita to different degrees. For Uddhava, he gave more detail. Yeah. So it's possible that he spoke to Yudhishthira first before he spoke to Arjuna.
What's the other time that we said several times
Even in the battle, he spoke to Arjuna a few times. After the full Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna again got several times angry over different. So Krishna again had to preach to him. Yeah. Text 37. Kimva Kritageshva Agam Atyamarshi Bhimo Kivat Dirgatamam Vimancha Yashangripatam Ranabhurna Sehe Margam Gadayas Charato Vichitram. Please tell me whether the unconquerable Bhima, who is like a cobra, has released his long cherished anger upon the sinners. The field of battle could not tolerate even the wonderful playing of his club when he stepped on the path. Because Vidura knew how angry he was against the sons of Duryodhana. So he wanted to know, did he do what he wanted to do? Yeah, so he did kill all the sons except one. Right? Vikarna, yeah, Vikarna. Is it Vikarna? I think so. He went because before the war starts, Yudhishthira will say, "Who wants to come to my side?" And then Vikarna goes and joins.
He was the only one speaking against
Yes, yes, protested against. Which before the war, Duryodhana will ask him, so to say, even he is in my side. Remember in the Bhagavad Gita, he quotes him to say that even though he was against me, but he is not now. But when before the war started, he walked over. In those days, it was like that.
master politician.
Yeah,
Out of all the 100 he mentions him, so that he is faced with it.
yeah. Anyway, you can see how Krishna's plans come to fruition. Text 38. Kachid Yashodarata Yudhapanam Gandhi Vadanvo Paratariraste Alakshito Yacharakuta Gudho Maya Kirato Girishastutosha. Please tell me whether Arjuna, whose bow bears the name Gandiva and who is always famous amongst the chariot warriors for vanquishing his enemies, is doing well. He once satisfied Lord Shiva by covering him with arrows when Shiva came as an unidentified false hunter. Anyway, Lord Shiva wanted to test and see how good he is. Pasupati, he gets the Pasupati weapon. Text 39. Yama Uttasvid Tanaya Pritaya Bhartai Vrita Pakshma Virakshiniva Hemata Uddhaya Mrideswariktam Parasuparna Viva Vajri Bhaktrar are the twin brothers who are protected by their brothers doing well. Just as the eye is always protected by the eyelid, they are protected by the sons of Pritha, who snatch back their rightful kingdom from the hands of their enemy Duryodhana, just as Garuda snatched nectar from the mouth of Indra, the thunderbolt carrier. Yeah, Garuda was asked to bring the nectar from the demigods because his mother was a slave to her sister, and so so he had to do certain things, and the serpents were creating problems for him. So anyway, he went to get the nectar from Indra, and they had a big, like we have money in the Fort Knox, right? So Indra had this thing, very tight safekeeping. The nectar was kept inside with all kinds of metal, mantras, snakes, everything of protecting. But Garuda just becomes tiny, goes inside, goes big, and takes everything. And Indra can't stop it. And the reason is Garuda is a servant of Krishna, so he can do anything. In the same way, Arjuna is also able to do anything because he is associate of Krishna. And just like the sons of Pandus are always under the protection of Krishna. Even though Duryodhana was so strong, he was very powerful, but he couldn't touch them. And so he's comparing Duryodhana as the Indra trying to stop Garuda, who is like the Pandavas. So they took away the kingdom from Duryodhana. Huh? Pet devotees. Yeah, that means they are very dear. Yeah.
You can ask also this
Yeah.
very sort of simple mundane question, but just for understanding about people also ask regularly. In a regular conversation, you may not ask questions, so many questions before the other person responds. And you see that in Bhagavad Gita, you're saying there's a 20, 30
Oh,
questions.
in the old system is like that. You wait until the person has asked everything.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
did.
And then you please them by answering the questions one by one. So you in those days they have good memory. They know what the questions. Huh?
Yeah.
I think some couple of people practice that. So you're going to an assembly and hundreds of people will sit and they keep asking questions. They have to remember all the questions and answer one by one.
Yeah, that's
We don't
more
have that
like
capacity.
yeah, that's like a yeah. So those days they are Shrutidhars, you know. They can hear one time and they remember everything. That's why they can perform everything in perfection, almost in perfection. So, and that was how the culture was. You know. It's not like while he was talking, Uddhava will say, "I stop. I'll answer this question." The culture was like that. They were personalities were so advanced they could listen until they felt because when someone is so enthusiastic want to talk, they will let them feel happy talking, and then they are pleasing them by allowing them to talk. Of course, now in Kali Yuga, people don't talk nice things, right? So you want to shut them up quickly. That's the difference. And yeah, we are Alpa Meda, and our lifespan is short. Alpa Ayushu. So therefore, we have no time for anything, not even Krishna. Yeah, so everything is. You can see they hear and they can answer very carefully. Whatever questions were asked, they answer thoroughly. Right? In Kali Yuga, even if the person wants to answer thoroughly, we'll say, okay, enough. Yeah,
Patience is
it's a virtue. Patience is a virtue. It's something we develop. Of course, you don't want to sit and listen to mundane things.
Yeah.
So therefore, things have changed over time. So as devotees, we want to hear about Krishna and devotees. So anyway, you can see how it is.
quite a bit of culture can be used.
Yeah, exactly. So when you are reading the Bhagavatam, you appreciate the culture, what it stood for, as opposed to what culture is standing for nowadays. So therefore, sometimes you need to think about this, so then your mind gets broad-minded. You can appreciate. So then you appreciate people who want to talk about Krishna more. And then you will try to explain to them. Then you can appreciate why people in Kali Yuga are not so patient. Right? And then even if they don't understand, and then you can say, we'll try again next time. You know? But you don't keep forcing. You don't get frustrated. But you appreciate they can't understand. Remember, we are in Kali Yuga. We don't have the adhikar to understand many things. All we have, our adhikar is Prabhupada's mercy and our Guru's blessings. No? That's our blessing, isn't it? Like even if you say Sarva Dharma Parityaja, you understood that? Okay, even then, not only that, you are not the soul. You understand perfectly what it is. Cannot.
Yeah.
Not so easy. So therefore, when you act on the platform of soul, which means devotional service, then realization will set in. Then you know, I am the soul in the body, not the other way around. I'm the body with the soul. So that's why practicing is important. And just simply practicing is not enough. Sach Shradhadanaya Munayo. That means those with firm faith in this thing, who have no doubts, And then then tasmad ekana manaso, then they become fixed. Why? Because Bhagavan's Sattvatam Pati, he becomes the protector of the devotees who has faith in him. So these are already there in the Bhagavatam. It is revealed so openly. You just have to practice it carefully. And you can't practice on our own. That's the other thing. In Kali Yuga, it's not easy, right? You find it difficult. So you need to help one another. Come together, discuss, and then do something. You can't stop, can't stop the force of Kali Yuga acting on us. Only way is through devotional service. It's like Vidura is traveling for 30 years. Through our readings we understand 30 to 35 years. How he is focused in one thing. Because of his association, going to the holy dham, doing the right things. Remember his position going to the dhams and Roma Harshana. Right? Correct or not? How he was when Balaram came. Correct? Exactly. So you have to understand, even going to dhams doesn't mean we get the perfection. No, we have to perform it properly. You have to arm ourselves with the knowledge properly and act on it properly. So anyway, let's finish this chapter. Text 40. Aho britapi driyate arbakarte Rajarshi Varyena Vinapitena Yastu Eka Viro Dirata Vijigye Danu Dvitiya Kakubas Chatasraha. O my Lord, is Prita still living? She lived only for the sake of her fatherless children. Otherwise it was impossible for her to live without King Pandu, who was the greatest commander and who alone conquered the four directions simply with the help of a second bow. So you know the story. Pandu died, and then and Madri felt that she was responsible, so she also went into the fire, and so she begged Kunti to take care, and Kunti agreed. So it was only for that reason she otherwise she would have also done sati. Yeah? This happened thousands of millions of years ago. I mean thousands of years ago. Nowadays people cannot do sati anymore. They don't have the qualification actually. Yeah. Roberts mentioned that even during his time in India there were some women were like that, but now then practically you can't find it. Yeah, you can't. Not in Kali Yuga, you can't do this. Text 41. Saumyanu sochetam vadapatantam Bratre paretaya vidudruheya Niryapito yena suritsvapurya Aham swaputra samanuvratena. O gentle one, I simply lament for he doesn't mention Dhritarashtra's name, but he, Dhritarashtra, who rebelled against his brother. Who is his brother? Pandu, after death. His brother was already dead. How did he rebel? By doing injustice to his son. By him I was driven out of my own house, although I am his sincere well-wisher, because he accepted the line of action adopted by his own sons. So here you can see, he didn't ask about Dhritarashtra directly. He said, I simply lament for him. Yeah. So you,
Asking how is
yeah, he's not even asking. He said, I'm simply lamenting. So therefore he is concerned still about his brother, but he doesn't mention his name. So he's always his well-wisher. Huh?
So Rudra going and delivering the dust is after this.
After this.
After this.
After this. So that's what you see in the 13th chapter. Dhritarashtra quits his yeah.
he comes back.
He comes back to deliver.
He was the Adam. This is he was the Adam.
He comes to deliver his brother and then he goes.
And that's when Yudhishthira Maharaj says, right, that you would have come here because you did this person.
Yes.
Because we have gone through all of that.
No. No. After this thing, then he'll go. He's asking about his brother. You understand?
Yeah, that's what remember his last time. That you are Yudhishthira Maharaj says.
Bhavat Vida Bhagavata Stirtha Bhuya Swayam Tirtha Tirthani Swantastena Gadabhrita. Yeah. So this is after this conversation with Uddhava, he meets Maitreya Rishi. Then after he gets the realization from Maitreya Rishi, then he goes to deliver his brother, Dhritarashtra. Remember, after the war, so many years before the Pandavas also left, at least 30 years. Yeah. 1 year. Yeah. Yeah, Dhritarashtra will leave his body, then Pandavas will go after him.
This seems like after Pandavas.
No.
This is in the middle.
Middle.
This time.
They are there. The Yadavas are not there. That's my mistake. But yeah, Yadavas are not there. That's pretty
Anyway,
Once the news comes immediately, the news techniques.
So that's
Once Arjuna comes back,
yeah.
immediately they leave.
yeah, text 42. Soham Hare Mardya Vidambanena Drisho Nirnam Chalayato Vidatu Nanyo Valakshya Padavim Prasadaj Charami Pasyan Gata Vishmayotra. I am not astonished at this, having travelled over the world without being seen by others. The activities of the personal Godhead, which are like those of a man in this mortal world, are bewildering to others, but I know of his greatness by his grace, and thus I am happy in all respects. Yeah, he never laments because he is fixed in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, he's not lamenting. Yeah. It is through the mercy of the Lord that you can maintain your own devotion. It's not like you are doing your own. No. Everything is the Lord's mercy. Our connection with Krishna is Krishna must reciprocate. If he doesn't give us the mercy, then we cannot go. That's why I keep saying it's not book knowledge.
Even to remember Krishna has to remember.
It is your love that gives Krishna to you. See, Krishna can deny you everything, but if you continue loving him, he has no choice. That's why the gopis, he said, I don't know how to repay your loving. When they, when he came back to see them, right? He said, I don't know what to do. So then he promised he'll be in their hearts. Yeah. So, by the grace of the Lord, he could travel, all over the world And to travel alone, one has to have fearlessness. So like a sannyasi. Like Srila Prabhupada, Abhayacharan, same thing. Yeah. So the same thing. Prabhupada said he is always fearless. For Krishna he is fearless. You know. Yeah, so dependence on Krishna is very important. And then once you are so fixed in that dependence on Krishna, you become fearless. Because you know everything you're doing for Krishna, and Krishna is going to protect me. No worry. Even if death is facing you, you're not afraid because you know I am Krishna's servant. So be it. Yeah, like Dhruva Maharaj stepped on death personified to climb on the lotus airplane. They said like that. So therefore Narayana Para, Prabhupada says, is never afraid. And people who don't understand, they see they can't see Krishna in that form. Therefore Prabhupada quotes that verse, Avajananti ma muddha manasintanamashvita. They cannot understand. So they see him as another king. So Shishupal was saying, you're just a cowherd boy who has all mystic powers. Duryodhana said he was a magician. Yeah. So all this can't be easily guaranteed. Text 43.
He's always seen the Lord by dint of the pure devotion.
Yes.
By dint of the pure devotion.
The reason why Prabhupada writes that is it's not by any other qualification. Okay? You have to be doing devotional service to get mercy of Krishna, not otherwise. There's no other way. Therefore, he emphasizes this all the time throughout the books. He repeats this many times. Because we will think, oh yeah, that's true. The next page we read, we forget. Text 43. Nunam nirpanam trimadodpatanam mahimuhuchalayatam chamubhi Vada prapannarti jihirshayesho Piyupai satagam bhagavan kurunam. Despite his being the Lord and being always willing to relieve the distress of sufferers, he, Krishna, refrained from killing the Kurus. Although they committed all sorts of sins, and although he saw other kings constantly agitating the earth by their strong military movements carried out under the dictation of three kinds of false pride. So, a lot of time people ask this question. Why Krishna didn't kill Duryodhana immediately? Why Krishna didn't help Draupadi and all those things, right? But there's a reason, and that reason is, Prabhupada writes in the middle of the purport, the silence of the Lord did not mean, however, that he excused the offenses of the Kurus. There were many other kings on earth who had become very proud of three kinds of possessions: wealth, education, and followers. And they were constantly agitating the earth by movements of military strength. The Lord was just waiting to get them together on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and kill them all at one time, just to make a shortcut in his killing mission. Shortcut. Godless kings or heads of state, when puffed up by advancement of material wealth, education, and increase of population, always make a show of military strength and give trouble to the innocent. So we should be careful also, because sometimes we are born with wealth, education, and people who look up to us. Yeah. So this is not used in service of Krishna, then we will be thinking we are better than Krishna. But you can see why Krishna did not react. So in your own life, sometimes you know someone is doing so bad to you, right? And you're thinking, why I have to suffer? I should punch the guy and so on. Or you have no power to do anything and you're thinking, Krishna, why is this happening to me? But actually, Krishna may have a bigger plan. Maybe the person had to do this so that he or she will have to go through some difficulty, and then they realize, then they'll come back to you and apologize, whatever his plan is. We have to think Krishna may have his plan. Or that this is my reaction for whatever nonsense I did. That I'm getting it through this person. Yeah, my karma also. Yeah. So basically he told Arjuna in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, right? His manifestation of the Virat Rupa, where he tells Arjuna, Arjuna, I've already killed this person, I've already showed you all of them dying. I only want to know, will you be part of it or I'll look for someone else? Will you be my instrument? Right? So that's how the Lord wants to. Why? Because the Lord wants to appoint someone to be the hero. He doesn't want to be the hero. He doesn't serve. Yeah, he chose his devotee to be hero. Yeah. He wants to glorify his devotee. So Prabhupada writes in the last paragraph, the Lord always wants to see his devotee as the hero of some episode which he himself performs. He wanted to see his devotee and friend Arjuna as the hero of the battle of Kurukshetra, and thus he waited for all the miscreants of the world to assemble. That and nothing else is the explanation of his waiting. So people ask a lot of questions, but no, this is the answer.
They said yesterday, barbaric he saw.
Yeah.
Everywhere was Chakravarti.
Exactly.
That is Mahabharat Katha.
Yeah. Text 44. Ajasya janmotpata nashanaya karmani akartu grahanaya pumsam nanu anyata ko arhati deha yogam paragunanam mutakarma tantram. The appearance of the Lord is manifested for the annihilation of the upstarts. His activities are transcendental and are enacted for the understanding of all persons. Otherwise, since the Lord is transcendental to all material modes, what purpose could he serve by coming to earth? So Vidura is explaining, why the Lord even comes down. Just like we read in the 4th chapter, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glani Bhavati. Why he comes, the Lord explains. This is the only reason. Paritranaya Sadhana Vinasaya. These are the 2 reasons. Actually, he's coming to please the devotee, but because he's coming to see the devotee, he's doing the side business. Kill and establishing it. So these activities are a lot amazing. Prabhupada also mentioned, when the Lord manifests pastime in this material world, he is not subject to any karma. So he quotes the verse in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Namam karma nilimpanti name karma phale spriha. Yeah. He created the whole system, but he's not subject to the system. So he wanted to make it clear to Arjuna, I'm not subject to all this thing. You are, I'm not. Yeah, that's a distinction. You have to make it very clear. He also says earlier on, right? Ajo pisan avyayatma, right? I'm not of this body also. So he makes it very clear. There's nothing unclear when Krishna is talking. The clarity is our problem, right? We have cataracts. We can't see, so we need surgery. Pull out the clouded eye vision. So Prabhupada writes in the second paragraph, the activities of the Lord are to be accepted and relished by all living entities. His activities are to attract the ordinary man towards the Lord. That's why he comes down, to attract the living entities. The Lord always acts in favor of the devotees, and therefore ordinary men who are fruitive actors or seekers of salvation may be attracted to the Lord when he acts as protector of the devotees. So Prabhupada says may be attracted. Because the Lord comes, it is up to us to accept that. If you don't accept, then you cannot be attracted. So therefore, just like when we give books to people to read, book distribution, right? Or even when they come to the temple, we have to do our best to present Krishna in the favorable way, so that they can accept Krishna. How would that be achievable? By our behavior. So people will judge Krishna by our behavior. People will judge Prabhupada by our behavior. So therefore it's important. Krishna's activities should be reflected by our behavior. So when you are so nice, they will say, I can't understand why Krishna did that. Then you can explain, they say, I still don't understand. But you know why they can't understand? They don't have the adhikar yet. But if you get angry with them and say you get lost and so on, then they lose their ability to develop their adhikar. So therefore, we have to see Krishna's purpose is to attract these people. That's why he keeps coming down. So we are part of Srila Prabhupada's movement. The mission of Prabhupada is to attract this individual on behalf of Krishna. So we are only instruments for Prabhupada. We shouldn't think we are doing great. All we have to do is be sincere on it. We may attract some people, we may not attract. But our sincerity is what Krishna is watching. Very important. So towards the last paragraph, Prabhupada then says, the secondary purpose of his appearance is to annihilate the upstart asuras, upstart companies, and to stop the nonsense of atheistic propaganda by less intelligent persons. By the Lord's causeless mercy, the asuras who are killed personally by the personality of Godhead get salvation. The meaningful appearance of the Lord is always distinct from ordinary birth. Even the pure devotees have no connection with the material body, and certainly the Lord who appears as he is in his Sachit Ananda form is not limited by a material form. Right? So in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where it is said that the devotee is not affected because he follows Krishna completely. So when he does everything in Krishna consciousness, his activities are always transcendental. So therefore, he has no connection with the material nature, therefore his material body becomes purified, used in the service of Krishna. What to speak of the Lord himself, who is pure all the time. So finally, in the last verse, Tasya prapanna kila lokapanam avasthitanam manushashane sve artaya jatasya yadusvajasya vartan sakeki dayati takite. O my friend, please therefore chant the glories of the Lord, who is meant to be glorified in the places of pilgrimage. He is unborn, and yet he appears by his causeless mercy upon the surrendered rulers of all parts of the universe. Only for their interest did he appear in the family of his unalloyed devotees, the Yadus. So Prabhupada quotes a verse from the first canto, Ete Chamsa Kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrarivaklam Lokam Hridayanti Yogi Yogi. So there also the Lord appears for the sake of for the enemies of Indra, Indrari, so enemies of Indra. So he comes for who? Asuras, against Asuras. So we are supposed to be like Suras. So devotees, he comes for the devotees, to attract them. And then in the last paragraph, Prabhupada says the purpose of pilgrimages is to remember the Lord constantly, and therefore the Lord is known as Tirtha Kirti. The purpose of going to a place of pilgrimage is to get the chance to glorify the Lord. Even today, although times have changed, there are still pilgrimage sites in India. So therefore, when we go to pilgrimage places, we hear about Krishna, we talk about Krishna, and then finally we pray to Krishna and thank him for allowing us to come to the Dham, and we glorify him. Yeah. Learn the prayers, Kunti prayers, so many prayers. You can always use those prayers in the holy Dham also. Alright, thus end the Bhaktivinoda purpose of the third canto, first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Questions by Vidura. Huh? Oh, so many questions. But you will see, Uddhava won't answer many. Because he feels there is a age difference and all. Alright, anything? Alright, thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. What was this song? Still working. Oh wow.
He brought his home here.
Still too small.